wieners.
40 days I've been on my own, and I don't know if I'll ever see my home, but I'm sailing on through the mist and the sea to convince this bloody world that you belong with me. Through the fire and the storm, through the wind and the rain, a bit of monsoon, Caribbean hurricane. We're cutting through, we're moving fast. Tell this world I'm running from my past.
And welcome to the Two Dudes in the Dark podcast. We're leaving in the start, which is Boggs yelling out wieners. I caught that, by the way.
Was you laughing through the whole
Yes,
thing?
I was. I was trying not to. Well, I bit my lip as soon as you said that. I was trying to get away from the mic, and I couldn't. So the beginning of our show is just going to be wieners. Welcome to the show. It's been a minute. I wish we were here more often, but as we talk about, life happens. So, holidays happened, and how was your beginning of the 2-week holiday?
It wasn't bad. Very busy.
Did Krampus come to your house?
I wish Krampus came to my house.
What'd you get for Christmas?
I got socks.
Yes.
I know. I was pumped. A salt lamp.
Nice. Those are
I want-
relaxing.
I wanted it for my desk at work for the aesthetics. Let's see. My mom gave me some cash,
Oh, the best gift.
and I told her I was going to buy a bunch of Coke with it.
The best gift.
Speaking of best gifts, did you see my Happy Holidays post yesterday?
Was it in your shower?
No, it's the one after.
I did, but remind me what happened because Ashley showed me across the room.
It was me naked with a Santa hat over my
Yes.
junk. And
Yes,
said
it
Happy
was.
Holidays.
If you can't get your fill of Bogsimus, he does do, it's not daily, but shower talks,
Yes.
and it's exactly what you think.
Yes, it's a live cast show that I do on Facebook where I talk in the shower.
Yeah. It is PG. There's
Ish.
no dingles and dangles.
There's no dingles and dangles, but there's talk of dingles and dangles.
From time to time. But it's all clean.
Ba-da-ba-da.
Oh, you can check me out on Monty the Yank on Twitter. You can also check us out on Facebook, Two Dudes in the Dark, and it's a number 2 if you're looking for us. So, my Christmas was about the same. I was sick for like 2 days. That was wonderful. Other than that, not much to talk about. I was just chilling, being busy, doing all that good stuff, and tonight I am drinking.
I am actually drinking too. I'm drinking an Elvis juice by Brewdog.
If you have not had Elvis juice by Brewdog, you are missing out. That's some good stuff.
It is really good.
I am drinking Jubilation by somebody, because I forget who it is. I'm sorry.
What is it? What kind of drink is it?
Christmas ale.
Ah.
And then my backup for tonight is a Yingling. Woo! Because I'm Ohio.
Yeah, it's classic.
Yeah, for life. So, tonight we are starting off with the investigation that Mr. Bogsimus had. Was it 2 weeks ago?
It was the 9th.
The 9th, okay. And you went to where?
The Bel-Air house in Bel-Air, Ohio.
Ooh, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
I would
House of
hope
Ohio.
there's no Prince of Bel-Air. It's just a small town on the Ohio River.
You gotta have a prince, bro.
The
The
Prince and the Pauper.
the Prince and the Pop-Tarts. So, why don't you go ahead and walk me through what you did or did not see or hear?
So we got there. Let's see, it was around 5:30 when me, Amanda, and my buddy Jordan arrived. The other members of the group were already there getting the camera system set up. We have a DVR system with 4 cameras, and they have 300-foot cables on them. So we set them up, one in the basement, one on the second floor, and then we set up 2 in the attic, one facing one way, the other facing the other. Then we did some investigating. We sat in the attic a bit. It felt really heavy when you went up there. I don't know if anybody that's listening has been on paranormal investigations, but like as soon as you went up in the attic, you just felt that sense of heaviness. And like you ever had that feeling like you're in a room full of people and they don't want you to be there?
Yeah, any room I enter.
Yeah, it's like family reunions.
Yeah.
That's kind of what it felt like. Like you go up in the attic, it's all heavy. There's that energy. Just you felt like you weren't supposed to be there, or something's upset that you're there. And I kept feeling like something was touching my neck, and it was burning hot. And as we're standing there, this other guy was sitting on the couch, and he felt like he kept getting touched by something, like something was running up and touching him. And I got this jolt of energy. I felt like I had to go running, and I was rocking back and forth while standing in place, and I just got that electrical sensation. And Amanda, like, she's like, should we get you out of the attic? And I'm like, yes, get me the hell out of here. And they had to like walk me out of the attic.
Oh geez.
But we split up, and we split up in the groups, and most of the activity was up in the attic. You just get that sense of heaviness or that electrical feeling.
Okay.
Had a lot of the device we had at Ovulus. It was talking to us. So here's a funny thing. The Ovulus on these investigations likes to really talk to me.
Yeah, you kind of mentioned that in the past.
Yeah.
Like really likes to talk to you.
Yeah, and I was using it on this investigation, and it kept talking to me, and it said hernia, and we're like, wait, why would it say that? And I'm like, well, I've had a hernia operation. I have a mesh in my stomach. Ooh. And it called me hernia all night. It's like it gave me that as a nickname. Like, oh, hey there, hernia.
Here's a stomach.
But it started rambling off some names, and it said Sandra and it said Dawn. And that's the names of my girlfriend's parents. And then it said van far past. And I'm like, well, they drive a van we're far away from. And I was like, oh, God. I'm like, you probably should call your parents. And so she called them, and as soon as they answered, it said hilarious ruse, like it was messing with us. So whatever entity was there was just joking around with us. It nicknamed me hernia. It tried to convince me that Amanda's parents got in an accident. So
oh man,
yeah. And actually, it was a week after that we went to the Prospect Place for a Christmas party.
Oh, neat.
Yep, and because we've been helping restore it, my group, not Columbus RP, the Outlaw Paranormal.
Yes.
And we hung out. We went on a little investigation. Ate a lot of food. I ate a lot of food. Like they had a bunch of shrimp there. You know, like whale sharks, how they just swim and eat krill and shrimp.
You just walking around with shrimp in your face.
That's pretty much how I was. Just eating the shrimp. But so members of that group bought a Connect, you know, the 360 Connects.
Yeah. So
you buy a Connect, you get a power source for it, you buy a Windows tablet, you download software called FAST, FAAST, and you integrate the Connect in with it, and you have a motion sensor camera.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It'll map in things and pick up their skeletal frames based on their joints and movement. So they were having some problems with it. They just bought it. They needed it set up. So I did some work on it, dialed it in, got it working. Found out it has a 12-foot area where it can be accurately read people's body movements.
Okay. And
we actually started picking up something very strange there. I don't know if you're familiar with these things, but like they will only pick up movement.
Yeah. Something has to be moving that somewhat looks like a human.
Yes, like we put it on a doll, and it will map in a doll.
Yeah, like it has to be human shape. It will pick up like animals, but it picks up moving physical.
Yes,
it has to look somewhat like a physical thing.
Things that are moving with joints. So when you map it in on a doll, it'll do the frame of a doll, and it will just sit it there. So it knows it's a figure, and it maps it in as an object. So we were downstairs, and it mapped in an object that was like under this display case. It was small. It kept moving around, and it kept going up to Amanda, and like she reached out her hand, it reached up and touched her hand, Another time it mapped in something that was like taller than the monitor itself, taller than the screen.
Yeah.
We were just getting all kinds of interesting things with that. Like it seemed like what we were interacting with was very intelligent. It would move how you ask it to and this and that. But the cool part happened when most of the other group left. It was me, Amanda, and the leader of the foundation, and his the guy that's a step below him was there. And we're just sitting around BSing, talking about the previous tenant, talking stories about the place, and he's going over the history of it. And it's like just sitting there talking about the place made it come alive. It sounded like someone was running sweeping, like running a broom up and down the hallway. You could hear footsteps. Amanda felt like she got touched. You felt that electrical sensation. As we were talking, you'd hear like a hum or vibration, like someone's mumbling over you. It was crazy. That was the most audible place of any investigation I've ever been on, and we weren't even investigating. We were just sitting there BSing.
Yeah.
It was insane. Even the owner was like, "Wow, this is crazy. This is active tonight." And I even told him, I'm like, "Dude, I've been to a lot of places. I've heard some stuff, but not this much, like this prominent." It was ridiculous. Like it literally sounded like someone was running a broom around.
Oh goodness.
I couldn't believe it. A lot of times when people are like, "I don't believe in that stuff," like I just wish I could
take them to something like that.
Take them to something like that, and then have something like that happen to them, like right there. Then they could be like, "Wow, that's weird. I can't explain that."
Do you hear my cat running everywhere? He's
Yeah,
gonna sleep all day.
I was gonna say, does your cat think it's 3 a.m.?
He's chasing something. I'm not sure. He'll probably start screaming at his tail here in a minute.
But yeah, that was Bel-Air house is pretty cool. Really cool house, and Prospect Place out in Trinway, Ohio is really cool, and that's what I did this month.
So with the Bel-Air house,
The
Bel-Air house. Let me ask you. The Bel-Air house. Give me the history and give me maybe some of the claims.
So there's something about structures that are built by a body of water, and I've noticed this. Ohio seems to be haunted anyway, just a very haunted state. But the Bel-Air house was built on a hill overlooking a river, which is the Ohio River. It's in close proximity to, there's like a mine under it, which was said to collapse and had some people die, but it's come forward that that's not the case, that this is a different mine that's under it. But there are coal mines under the thing. So there's, I don't know about the negative history with it, because it just seems to me like there's a negative entity that resides there that's been a cause of a lot of the problems. But people will be compelled to, when they're there, to jump out the window.
Did you feel compelled? You felt like running. Was it out a window?
No, but I was drawn over to that window all
Really?
night. That's pretty much where I stood all night. That's where I was getting a lot of the feelings and activity.
Huh.
There's another guy there that he kept feeling that rush of energy and heaviness and despair.
Yeah.
And the Ovulus kept talking about portals and entering and manifestations and stuff. But there are cases of people being scratched and people having very overwhelming feelings there. I know that the woman that currently owns the place, she's tried to live there and she can't. Like whatever lives there runs her out. Like it bothers you. It just gives you like really negative feelings, and it will scratch you and try to harm you. And she's tried to rent it out, and those people, the renters, even move out really quickly.
Oh goodness.
So whatever's there just does not want people to be there.
Did someone die there?
I'm not too sure, actually.
Okay.
The other members of my group are very keen on the history there. I like to go into these places not knowing things.
Well, yeah, because you don't want to be influenced.
Yeah. I try to keep that. I mean, I know quite a bit about the Prospect Place because I've been there so much, and
Yeah.
kind of have to when you're helping restore it. But these other places, I will research them. Very minimalistic. Man, your animals are just on it tonight, aren't they?
He's asleep all day. As soon as we start, he's everywhere. He'll be screaming. It's coming. So it's not a ghost, everybody. Don't be emailing me like you do. And tell me that the cat is a ghost. Because it's not. I'm looking at him. So, are you guys going over any investigation / have you went over any the evidence?
They've went over some of the they've went over some of the video. We caught we don't know if it's dust. It's very hard, like especially with night vision cameras and lights like there were up there. I mean, they didn't have curtains over the windows, so there's just lights coming in from the street and stuff. But there's a part in the night where you can see something floating around. It looks like it's blinking. But that's followed by, or that happens after there's like a strange thump in the attic. Nobody's up there, and there's like a thump, and then there's that blinking light floating around. And then they were reviewing some audio, and they heard what sounds like a little girl's laugh. But I haven't. I mean, with the holidays and everything, I haven't really checked in with them to see what else they've picked up.
Okay, so are you guys gonna do an evidence reveal, or is that something to look forward to?
We'll try, but with our group, there's so many of us, it's crazy to get us all together. We'll see what we can do.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd like to throw it on our Facebook page, and then we can plug out for your Facebook page for I just forgot you guys.
Columbus R.I.P.
Well, no, the other one. Outlaw.
Oh, Outlaw. Outlaw was the Prospect place. Columbus R.I.P. did Bel-Air House.
Gotcha. Okay, so did you guys get anything at the Prospect place, or was it just there to be there?
We were there for a party. I mean, there's some video of us with the Kinect device where you can see the figures and stuff. Cool. And then Amanda recorded a little bit of audio when all the stuff was happening. But like I said, we were having idle conversation over it, because it almost seemed like when we stopped talking, it's like the activity would slow down. But then when we started talking again specifically about the place and its history, the activity would peak. Yes. It's almost like, because I guess like back in the day there, the 2 rooms that we were in were opened up to host people. And there were Christmas decorations up, and people were like having a good time and eating. And like the head of the board out there said, it's probably reminiscent of how the Christmases used to go there. So whatever entities are there are probably like, oh, this is like old times, and they just wanted to experience it.
Sweet. So if you want to check out either one of you guys on Facebook, where would they look?
Columbus R.I.P. For the one, and then Outlaw Paranormal Posse for the other.
Sweet. And at the end of the show, you'll get to plug yourself, because I forgot to let you plug yourself at the beginning.
Oh, I'll plug myself.
Plug it.
Yeah, I'll plug myself by eating a bunch of cheese.
Way ahead of you, punk. So, I wanted to throw this in here since it's the holiday season and it's nerd season at the theaters. Did you get to see the new Star Wars?
I went on the Thursday night. It came out at 9:30 up at Easton.
Perfect. What'd you think?
I liked it.
I did too.
I liked it a lot, and I don't understand. Well, I do understand the hate, but then again,
Nobody
think
hates
it's ridiculous.
though. We've had this conversation a couple years ago, actually. Everybody expects way too much from a film, I think, personally.
They do, and the thing is, I don't think there's been a Star Wars that's come out recently that people haven't hated.
Because you don't have the nostalgia glasses.
Yeah, people hated episodes 1, 2, and 3. People hated The Force Awakens, and people didn't like Rogue One that much.
Rogue One was great.
Rogue One was incredible.
It's amazing.
It's like
they don't survive. Duh.
Who cares? Like, if you watch Rogue One and then go right to A New Hope, it makes Rogue One like so much better.
Look what these people did.
I know. It even makes New Hope better.
Non-spoiler, completely non-spoiler. If you go into this film understanding that, give it 30 minutes. It's weird to say, but the first 30 minutes I did have that, I'm following. And then once it gets through that, it's amazing. Like it flows. It has one, I think what bothered people is it had one constant story the whole time. And I think that bothered people where they felt like, well, where's this going? But that was the whole point. The whole story was around them being in peril.
Yeah. Here's another reason why I think people hated it so much. So when episode 7, The Force Awakens, came out, everybody came up with their fan theories.
Yes.
Everybody had all these freaking theories, and they had 2 years to like stew on these theories and think about them. And then The Last Jedi comes out and just destroys these theories.
Yeah.
I liked that. It shows you
Yes.
that fans are not going to dictate how a movie is written.
And what I loved about it is if you really think of, and I'm not going to spoil this, if you really think about it, the explanation for Ren matches Anakin. And that's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, people were mad about that, and I'm like,
that's a perfect explanation.
Anakin, and people were mad about Luke being exiled on the island. I'm like, Obi-Wan Kenobi exiled himself into a desert planet, and Yoda exiled himself onto a swamp planet.
Yes.
Like, why are people so mad?
Anyways, go see it, please. Go in. Here's how I go into everything, and that's how I always explain it. If you're going to watch a Michael Bay film, you know what you're going into. Stop going into Marvel movies, DC movies, and Star Wars movies with, well, they didn't do exactly what I wanted, and I wanted this. Well, you know what? You are one person. And I understand you may dislike parts of it, but you have to eliminate I didn't like this part. There was parts of this movie I did not like. But at the end of the day, it was a good movie.
Oh, dude, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I had a bunch of like wow moments during it. And it's visually appealing. It is incredible.
Yeah. The first 30 minutes had some goof. It had some I can't we'll talk about it off the air. There's a part in the first 30 minutes that I was like
the milk?
No, but that's freaking hilarious.
That killed me. That killed me. Oh my god, I died.
No, there is a pivotal scene in the first 30-ish minutes of the movie that I was like, oh, come on.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
You gotta know what I'm talking about. We'll talk about it off the air.
Oh my god, yeah.
But it was just like, ugh. But then after that, it was like, okay, this movie's good. So, the other movie I just watched today is Justice League. And you said it was okay. Which you liked Batman versus Superman. And I did too. I thought it was good. I came away from that film. That film was 2.5 hours, 2 hours and 20 minutes. And I walked out of that film and I was like, holy crap, it's over. Like,
yeah,
it was everybody talking about how much of a mess it was. From start to finish, I thought it was good.
It was fast. It was, I mean, I'm glad they didn't have to do a backstory on everybody.
Thank you.
I know. I don't want it's like, I don't care. We know. We understand.
So the Flash, to spoil a little bit, the Flash, everybody's like, whoa, I don't know the story of it. They tell you in 5 minutes the perfect backstory. He was struck by lightning. His dad's in jail for killing his mom. And he's trying to get his dad off the hook because he thinks he's innocent. That's his backstory. That's fine. You don't need 45 minutes on that. They told it super well. And they tie it up at the end.
Yeah. I mean, I enjoyed the film. When did that come out? That came out November, the beginning of November.
Yeah, it's like
came
almost
out a week,
out of theaters.
Yeah, it came out a week after Thor Ragnarok. I knew that.
Yes.
There was one thing I didn't like about the movie, but I don't want to spoil it for people that haven't seen it. I mean, it's kind of to the point to like, I mean, it's over a month. It's been out for over a month. Like, it's your fault at this point. but I'm not going to be that guy.
Yes.
But we'll talk after this. We'll discuss that, and then maybe down the road we'll when we have guests and stuff, we'll discuss this stuff.
Yeah, we
more.
should have a nerd talk where we just, okay, it's been 2 months on these movies. We're going to talk about them. If you don't want to listen, it's up to you, but we're talking about them.
Like, I have people at work that are like, I just want to talk about the new Star Wars with them. They're like, oh, I haven't seen it. I'm like, oh my God, how? Yeah. It's like, how and why? Like,
yes. Do you like Star Wars? Yes. Go see it. At least go see it.
It's like, dude, I requested PTO. Like, my buddy's like, hey, you want to go see Star Wars? I got an extra ticket. I'm like, yep. Let me go in 4 hours late on Friday.
Yeah.
Boom. Put in the PTO. Yes. Like, right there immediately.
Yes.
Burnt through PTO to go see it because I'm a fan.
Yes. I had to wait a week because I waited on my brother. Okay, this did piss me off. I successfully avoided trailers, spoilers, and everything for this movie. Not because I'm a nerd. Trailers spoil way too much, so I avoid them.
I did the same thing,
yes.
To be honest.
They showed a trailer for the movie before the movie started. Because they were promoting something.
Wow, buttholes.
And I looked at my brother and I'm like, well, that sucks. He's like, oh, it didn't ruin anything. I said, no, but I successfully avoided knowing anything about this movie. Bastards.
Did you see the teaser trailer for a movie called Mortal Engine?
No, but Ready Player One, I did.
Oh, really? You didn't see the Mortal Engines trailer?
Huh.
Are you sure?
Positive.
You didn't see a trailer with a giant metal thing rolling across the landscape?
No.
Oh, dude. When you get like a minute of your life, watch that trailer.
No, just go watch a movie.
Or that. It looks so good.
Yeah. So if you're looking to watch a couple movies, well, Justice League is gone. We watched it at the dinner AMC, and there was like 6 people there. It's gone this week. So on DVD, Blu-ray, whatever, do watch it. If you have not seen it, Jedi, you have to go see it.
I've been trying to go it's funny because I keep reading all this stuff about how this Star Wars isn't doing as well as the other ones. And I'm like, every time I try to go see it again, the theater is packed.
And here's the thing. They lost half a day, everybody. On Sunday, they lost half a day. They'll make it up today and tomorrow. They will.
I think people are so butthurt with it, they're trying to make it seem worse than it is.
It's already at $700 and some million. Sorry. It's a good movie. If you don't think it is, I get it. I'm not going to take anybody's opinion away. I just think a lot of people need to step back from the movies. And we've talked about this. It's a comic book movie. It's a sci-fi or fantasy, whatever you want to call Star Wars movie. It doesn't have to be perfect.
The best description I've heard about Star Wars is, what did you expect? It's a movie about space wizards.
Yes, it's space magic with space wizards.
Yes. So I think the thing that's really upsetting me now with everybody hating movies is it's always the same people I know. They dog on every freaking movie, and I'm about ready to challenge them to write a movie script.
Yeah. Give me what you want. Well, there'd be all this stuff. Okay.
Write me the perfect movie right now.
Yeah.
Right now. Write me it.
Well, and the Justice League part kills me because what did everybody say about Batman versus Superman? There's not enough action. There's too much plot. It took too long to get going. So this movie is like literally action for 2 hours. There's not enough plot.
There's not enough development. Steppenwolf is just like there, man.
Yeah, because he didn't die. Spoiler.
They already know.
He's not dead.
The flashback scene of them fighting Steppenwolf, that was incredible.
Yes.
That was like one of the best scenes for me in the movie. That was incredible.
The only thing you can say about Justice League, to me, because I liked it, is it the best movie I've ever seen in my life? No. It felt too much like a Marvel movie. That's not a bad thing, but it did. It felt like they were like, well, Marvel does it, so we do it. Here you go. But go see it. Go in with a blank slate and go see it. And I think you'll enjoy the movies a lot more instead of going, they didn't do what I thought they would do. Star Wars fucking effing didn't do anything that I thought they were going to do. And it was amazing. I'm just saying. You know what it is? It's a conspiracy. Oh!
That's a good lead-in.
Master of the segue. Oh. Top 10. We're going to talk conspiracies, everybody. Conspiracies. Are you for them or against them?
I like a good conspiracy.
Me too. Do I believe good conspiracies? Not always. Do I like them? I love them. I love them. I love hearing the other side. I love hearing, but yeah. I mean, if we break down a lot of the stuff we talk about, it's conspiracies. UFOs. Until proven, it's a conspiracy. Anybody talking about it, it's a conspiracy. Either conspiracy against or a conspiracy for.
Here's a good topic that I made someone upset at work today. Water. Is water wet?
Water's water.
Is water wet?
What's your definition of wet?
All right, so let me pull up the definition of wet.
Yes. Me after Star Wars.
Ha! Like, I literally had someone like upset. All right, wet, covered or saturated with water or another liquid.
So water can make something wet, but water is not wet.
Correct.
Yes.
Like, a good explanation of it is you don't look at the ocean and say, oh my God, that ocean is wet.
It's the wettest ocean I've ever seen.
You'll be wet if you get in that ocean and get out. Like, here's another thing. Are fish wet when they're in the water?
They're wet when they're out of water.
Correct. See? and that's what, like, the thing
they're
was,
submerged in water.
She's like, but water in itself in essence is wet. I'm like, no, based on the definition of wet and how we describe things, water is not wet.
Is hot dog a sandwich? They actually got this out of the way finally, but is a hot dog a sandwich?
Just the hot dog itself?
No,
or
hot dog. You go in and I want a Frankfurt and you pay your dime, you get it. Is that a sandwich?
I don't know. No.
They say no. The explanation from them, from the hot dog people, is that it's a hot dog. But let's do the math. It is meat with toppings between two buns. Well, a bun, but it's two buns, let's be honest. It's an open-faced sandwich.
I'm looking up the definition of a sandwich. An item of food consisting of two pieces of bread with meat, cheese, or other filling between them, eaten as a light meal.
Yes. Which would be a hot dog.
I guess a hot dog is, by the term, by the definition of a sandwich.
But I'm a believer that a hot dog is a hot dog.
A hot dog is a hot dog.
When you eat them hot dogs. It's a conspiracy. It's a conspiracy. So, top 10 conspiracies according to time.com. Are you ready? Number 1, the JFK assassination, which we'll talk about. So we're going to keep that off the list. No talking about it till I talk about it.
Yeah.
The 9/11 cover-up. Do you think it's top 10? You have your kooks, and I think it's kind of it.
I think it's top 10.
Okay. Number 2? I don't think this is in order, but number 2?
I would actually place it pretty high. People get pretty passionate about it.
Okay. Number 3, Area 51 and the aliens. Personally, I think that's number 1.
Yeah, I think that's got to be number 1.
Let's see here. Yeah, so Area 51, the aliens, Roswell. Look it up. If you don't know it, you're not listening to us. Let's just be factual. If you don't know about Area 51, I don't know what to tell you. Number 4, Paul is dead, which we will talk about. You know about Paul is dead?
Yep.
Okay. Number 5, secret societies control the world. I don't know if that's a conspiracy.
That's just a fact.
It's just a fact. The secret society is called money.
Oh, the Rothschilds.
The moon landing was fake. Good one. Jesus and Mary Magdalene. Do you know much about that one? We will talk about that one.
Mm-hmm.
The Holocaust revisionism. You have a lot of people that say the Holocaust was faked to justify what we did in World War II. I can kill that right here. We could justify World War II because of Japan. I mean, you don't need the Holocaust to take over what Germany did. Germany invades Poland, invades France. It tries to invade Russia. I don't think you need the Holocaust to justify going after these people, right?
No.
No. The CIA and AIDS. I didn't know about this one. The conspiracy is that the CIA invented AIDS to take out African Americans and gays.
That's kind of wow. You know what? I've heard that.
I've heard it, but like not enough that I thought it would be like top 10. Like I've heard that AIDS was manufactured, which it wasn't, everybody. But that one. I was going to talk about it, but it's kind of dull. And then number whatever, and I don't have it on here, but let's talk about it. Let's start off with this. The reptilian elite.
Lizard people!
Lizard people! One runs a country.
Yep.
The reptilian elite. Hell, I'll just click on it. Fuck it. F it. I'm sorry. They're among us. They are blood-drinking, flesh-eating, shape-shifting, extraterrestrial, reptilian humanoids. Hold on. Cat, really? Come on. Come on. No. Everything you're doing is bad. Okay. They are our leaders. Yep. Our corporate executives. Yep. Our beloved Oscar-winning actors and Grammy-winning singers. And they're responsible for the Holocaust, the Oklahoma City bombing, and 9/11 attacks. At least according to former BBC sports reporter.
Oh my God.
And that's the sports. Anyways, 9/11 happened because of reptilians. Hey, bye everybody. His name is David Icky Shuffle, who became the poster human for the theory in 1998 after publishing his first book, The Big Secret, which contained interviews from 2 Brits who claimed members of the royal family and nothing more than that the members, that reads completely wrong. The members of the royal family are nothing but reptiles with crowns. So, not only do aliens exist, they're here, and they run the world.
They're lizards.
Yes. Dun, dun, dun. Do you buy that conspiracy? On a scale of 1, no way, to 10, yes, absolutely. What do you rate it?
No. No way.
I rate it, no.
Oh my God.
No, there's no way. There are corrupt people with money. They're not reptiles. I'm sorry. They're just not.
I mean, if I win the lottery, do I get my scales?
Yes. Yes. Yes, you do. You become a reptile. If you get powerful, you're a reptile. If you do anything bad, reptile.
I gotta start playing the lottery.
Because you want to be a reptile?
I guess.
You want to kind of be able to be underwater, but can't breathe?
Some of them can regenerate.
Yeah, like if you lost a foot and it just came back. Like, that's how you test it. Run up to... I can't say this because I'm going to end up in jail. Cut off a member's leg and see if it grows back. If it doesn't, not a reptile. And let's face it, a reptile doesn't have that big of an ass. Just doesn't. All right, you ready? I want to talk about the JFK assassination. I'm going to read about it. The moon landing, Jesus and Mary Magdalene, and the Paul is dead, because Paul is dead would lead us directly into the Coup de Jour, which is the Kurt Cobain murders. Murder. Suicide. Whatever you want to call it. So, the JFK assassination. As much as we can speculate, President John F. Kennedy was assassinated in 1963, struck by 2 bullets, one in the head and one in the neck, while riding in the open-topped limo through Dealey Plaza in Dallas. Lee Harvey Oswald was charged with killing him, and a presidential commission headed by Chief Justice Earl Warren found that Oswald acted alone. That conclusion hasn't passed muster with the public. It's kind of gone away, but 70% of Americans still believe that Kennedy's death was a result of a broader plot. The trajectory of the bullets, some say, didn't square with Oswald's perch on the 6th floor of the Texas School Book Depository. Others suggest a second gunman, perhaps on the Where did that come from, by the way? Perhaps.
Perhaps.
Well, perhaps. It was on the grassy knoll of Dealey Plaza. Participated in the shooting. Others believe that an even broader conspiracy was Kennedy killed by CIA agents acting either out of anger over the Bay of Pigs or on behest of President or Vice President Lyndon B. Johnson, or by the Russians. Mobsters mad at Kennedy's brother for insinuating the prosecution of organized crime rings. Speculation over the history most famous political assassination is such a popular parlor game. Parlor game. I can't speak.
Parlor
game. That most people have taken the rumors to heart. Just 32% of those polled by ABC believed Oswald carried out the killings on his own. So let's start with this. 1 out of 10. Again, 1 being nah. And 10 being yeah. Where you at on this one?
That Lee Harvey didn't kill him.
It was not a single act. It was done for a greater purpose.
I'd say I'm leaning more towards yes.
I'm like a 6.
That's about where I'm at.
So, explain you. Go ahead. Explain
Just like,
why.
Didn't Lee Harvey have a bolt action rifle?
Yes.
He popped off 2 rounds at that distance with the bolt action rifle at a moving target.
Yes. He was also considered a sharpshooter in the Army. And they've proven that a sharpshooter could hit a target at that speed from that distance.
Twice.
With
the bolt action?
Yes. He was, so they rate you with the bolt action. They rate you from distance and time, like speed.
Mm-hmm.
He was 49 out of 50 in the Army. Out of every 50 shots, he hit 49 targets from varying distance.
I don't know, man. It's just the probability. I don't know. It just seems like the circumstances were too perfect for that to happen.
He had a pretty clean shot.
Let me look up a layout.
Back and to the left. Back and to the left. Back and to the left. Here's why I think that there might be something else to do with it. Here's my thing. I think Lee Harvey Oswald took the shots. I think he hit the shots. I think he killed him. Do I think there's a possibility that because of some of the surroundings of him going to Russia, exiling himself from the USA, coming back, having enough people around that knew what he could do and who he was, that someone talked him into doing it and taking the rap for it? I believe. Do I think the grassy knoll happened? No. I don't think there's a second shooter. I think it's him. Do I think at the end of the day it could have been a overall conspiracy to kill the president? Yes. Do I think it was our government? No. That's what I think. But I think he took those shots, and I think he made those shots.
Well, then he is a beast.
And the only reason for it is reading into it is finding out that how he could shoot. This was not a question, because the old conspiracy forever was there, nobody can take those 2 shots that fast. And then they showed a guy do it like effortlessly. Take those shots. Boom, boom. And he hit the target, both shots, moving. So it can be done. But do I think it could be a Russia thing? Do I think it could be a mob thing? Do I think it could be just a kooky white supremacy thing? Yeah, I absolutely think that could be a possibility. The mob thing really gets me is because the guy that kills Oswald, and I can't remember his name to save my life, was a mob guy. So to snuff out the guy that could potentially talk, I think maybe the mob did it. Maybe. I don't think Lyndon B. Johnson did it necessarily. But who knows? Did you see that video yet?
Which video?
Or whatever you were looking up?
Oh, I found a map. It's the Los Angeles Times mapping.
Uh-huh.
Looking at that. Huh.
What do you think?
Well, now that I know it's possible that a sharpshooter can do that, I mean...
Yeah. It's possible. The big thing was, like, how his head moved on the first shot. But the thing is they've shown, because, like, they always talk about, well, how could it hit him in the neck and hit the guy in front of him in the shoulder? And people forget that how he was sitting in the car, the other guy was way far down compared to where he was sitting. There's a lot of things that if you really look up the facts, they're immediately eliminated.
Huh.
But at the end of the day, it doesn't make a conspiracy go away. Second shooter conspiracy, I think you can eliminate. There's no way that many people around didn't see somebody else shoot a gun, even a fake gun. But can you prove that he was doing it on his own? No. But also, I do like the explanation that a lot of people do have, is that it's easier to conspire and say that there was a bigger overall arching reason for this death than one kooky guy decided to kill the president.
How did he have the information of the route the president was going to take and the times?
Well, he knew he was coming down that road.
So
he just had to sit up there. He worked there.
That just seems like a crappy... That just seems like bad planning for the Secret Service.
Well, they're idiots, but they also didn't think that he was going to get shot. Yes. Could it be a bunch of blunders that ended up being the downfall of JFK? Yeah. I mean, Abraham Lincoln. Who'd have thought that the guy in the play was going to sneak around and shoot Lincoln in the head? Nobody. Right?
Right.
Okay. So, number 2.
Interesting.
The moon landing was faked. It's been nearly 4 decades since Neil Armstrong took his quote-unquote giant leap for mankind. If, that is, he ever set foot on the planet. It's not a planet, everybody. It's a moon. Anyways. Doubters say the U.S. government, despite desperate to beat the Russians to space, faked the lunar landing with Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin acting out their mission on a secret film set located, depending on the theory, either high in the Hollywood Hills or deep in Area 51. With the photos and videos of the Apollo missions only available through NASA, there's no independent verification that the lunar landings were anything but a hoax. The smoking gun. Film of Aldrin planting a waving flag on the moon, which critics say proves they were not in space. The flag's movement, they said, clearly shows the presence of wind, which is impossible in a vacuum. NASA says Aldrin was twisting the flagpole to get the moon soil, which caused the flag to move. And never mind, the astronauts have brought back hundreds of independently verified moon rocks. Let's stop right there. I'll just get it out of the way. Let's do this right now. 1 to 10, moon landing was fake.
I don't think it was. So
I'm with you. I think 1. The only thing that does put it in my brain, and conspiracy theorists can hold forever, is a lot of the moon rocks they gave to other dignitaries of other countries were fake. Proven. Proven fake.
That's funny.
But that's probably just as the USA being assholes.
I mean, I like the evidence that shows like why, like the reasoning that they could have faked it, basically the moon race, the Cold War and stuff to basically bankrupt the Russians.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I could see why a nation would possibly fake it, but looking at
the best explanation. Well, first off, find the Mythbusters episode on it because they do a very good job of disproving everything. The footstep in the a vacuum with the moon and the dust or whatever sand that's on the moon. The first things first. Hold on a second. I think I'm popping up. There we go. First things first on that. He did move the flag around to put it in the ground. It's moving because he was twisting it. It stops moving. And the best explanation, I forget who it was from. I'm getting like feedback big time on my I don't know what's up with that. We'll have to fix that later. It would have cost more to film what they did than it would to just send somebody to the moon.
Like I'm watching still frames and it shows frame by frame. It shows frame by frame of an astronaut moving and the flag is not moving.
Yeah. It moves when he moves it. Am I coming? Hold on a second here.
I can hear you clear as day.
Sorry about that. So anyways, with the moon landing, like you said, you're looking at still photos. The flag doesn't move when it shouldn't.
No, it shows frame by frame an astronaut moving by the flag, and it's not waving.
Yeah, it only moved when he touched it, which it should move because he was moving it. So anyways, it's down to 5%. People, this is getting to the point where, you know how many people you'd have to pay off to keep this a lie? This goes kind of back to the 9/11. Some of the hoaxes there, or not hoaxes, I'm sorry, the conspiracy theories there, which is like my favorite one, and a buddy brought this up, during the time. Oh, the one flight landed in Cleveland. And it's like, okay, so there was 90-some people or 70-some people on that flight. You would have to keep those 70 people quiet the rest of their lives.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen.
No.
There's no way you keep that many people quiet for that long. Not a single person that was a part of the Apollo landing.
There are too many photos that of the time would be too hard to create with the technology. How did they get photos of the Earth? Like,
they just projected it.
Yeah, I don't.
Well, the Earth is flat, obviously. So
obviously
that's busted right there. The Earth is flat. It's not the Earth. They made it up.
You can't land on the moon. It's a cold light hologram.
Yes, of course. It's not round.
Oh God.
So I'm with you. Probably a 1 on that, everybody. If you are a moon truther, good for you. Great. But yeah, I just think it's bunk.
Dude, this article has, let's see, 217 citations. Damn. And yeah, it's pretty extensive. It's on Wikipedia. I know people give Wikipedia a bad rep, but it's a, I don't know. Wikipedia is a good source of information. Yeah, people can jump on and change it, but there's so many people that moderate it.
Dude, there can be things that are changed within 2 seconds. They are changed back.
Yeah, and there are high-ranking people that have edited so many articles that like they hold higher rank over people that haven't. So if someone just constantly gets on there and changes something,
You won't be
it'll
doing it much longer.
yeah, it'll notify someone with a higher rank, and they'll get back on change. They can revert it back.
Well, and it doesn't even change. It lets them know, like, this has been
Yes.
changed. Do you want this to change?
It'll say blah 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 has suggested an edit to an article, and they can just be like, no.
No.
Like, this article is very well written. It doesn't have any, like, some articles be like, there's a broken link or citation needed, or
Yeah. This one is like 300 different references I can send you to. And go look at the references. I ain't lying.
Yeah, that's a very good article.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we've been to the moon. I guess we're planning on going back to the moon.
I hope. We'll go to Mars first. Of course, Elon Musk is doing that.
That's a bit.
Do you hear he's sending one of his roadsters there?
Is he?
Yes, very much so. He's like, we're going to Mars, and I'm taking a car. Okay. These last two will go kind of quick on here. You ready? Jesus and Mary Magdalene. The theory is that Jesus had a wife, and that wife's name was Mary Magdalene, the quote-unquote prostitute in a lot of the stories of Jesus. On a scale of 1 to 10, do you buy it?
Well, I don't want to delve too far into religion, but I am not a religious person, so if Jesus was a man that lived during that time, men have needs, so I would buy it, yes.
The reason so on a scale of 1 to 10, I say 7. Here's the reason. Your story of Jesus starts as a baby and then restarts at 33.
Yes.
So Jesus, during that time, there was no stories. Now, if you look into it, and if you believe or don't believe in Christianity, the stories are started as real people that knew Jesus. One of those stories is from Mary Magdalene, and it doesn't get published. It's hidden, but it exists. There is a Jesus according to Mary Magdalene. Mary Magdalene followed him. Mary Magdalene was not a prostitute. Mary Magdalene just shows up in his life. At the end of the day, was there any reason for Jesus not to have a wife? No. There's nothing saying that Jesus couldn't have a wife.
Why doesn't that, why hardcore Christians, I pose this question to you. Why would the concept of your Lord having a wife upset you so much? Because isn't one of the whole core Christian concepts is family, is finding your significant other and starting a family. Like, why wouldn't a deity do that? That's in human flesh.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is that when you really break it down, you had one woman follower that he loved above all else, according to Peter. The Apostle Peter. Do I think that Jesus could have been married to Mary? Yes. Do I think Jesus could have had a son? Yes. I think it's totally possible. And finally, before we get to our topic du jour, is Paul is dead. Paul McCartney. What?
What's the soup of the day? It's the soup du jour.
The soup of the day is Kurt Cobain.
That sounds good. I'll have that.
Yes, I'll have that. That sounds good. I'll have that. Paul McCartney never wrote Maybe I'm Amazed. He never formed the band Wings. He never clashed with Yoko, becoming a vegetarian, or fathered any of his children. When Queen Elizabeth knighted him in 1997, she was actually knighting somebody else. This is because conspiracy-minded Beatlemaniacs say Paul McCartney secretly died in 1966. Theorists claim that other Beatles covered up the death, hiring someone to look like him, sang like him, and had the same jovial personality. But the guilt eventually got to them and began hiding clues in their music. In the song Taxman, George Harrison gave his advice for those who died, meaning Paul. The entire Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Heart Club Band album was awash with Paul's dead clues, and the Beatles had formed a new band featuring a fictional member named Billy Shears, supposedly the name of Paul's replacement. This is a really cool theory. This is a really cool thing to look into because it is a fact of the matter. Out of 10, it is a 10 that the Beatles were messing with people. They did mess with people. They did put stuff in their songs. They did say Paul is dead. The walrus is Paul. They did say all this because they were messing with you, everybody. Look it up. Paul McCartney is Paul McCartney, let's face it. There, again, is too many people to keep a lie for that long. What would be the point of holding the lie now?
You know, there's another theory with Avril Lavigne that she's dead.
Well, she is. That's not a theory. She's dead.
Her career.
Yeah.
But there's a theory that she died back in like the mid 2000s.
I have heard that. Look how different she looks. Oh, she got
Well,
older.
yeah. There's like people breaking down like her like her birth defects and her skeletal structure of her face and her hairline and all kinds of stuff.
Yes. The other reason people believe in this is that the Beatles did have body doubles. They did. They went places where there were stand-ins for all the Beatles. It existed. You look at certain explanations, and a lot of those explanations come down to it wasn't really them. But at the end of the day, John Lennon put it best. John Lennon's like, he was my best friend. I grew up with him. That's Paul. It is. So look it up, though, because it is a very, very fun theory. There was a fun little documentary on Netflix, which is supposedly George Harrison's bedside confession, telling everybody that Paul died. But if you get a chance to look it up, the Beatles were messing with you. The Beatles were leaving fun little jokes out there for everybody, but they were done in jest. They were done to sell albums. Oh, look, there's something in Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Heart Band. I better go buy it. Yeah, that's what they did. Which is good for them. It's fun. It's fun to hear it. You know, the White Album or whatever, and they have the, the Walrus is Paul in it. Like, they're telling you little secrets of the other, albums. Because they wanted to sell them to you. And it was fun. What is not so fun, though, and this is one at a scale of 1 to 10, I'm a solid 8 on. Kurt Cobain was murdered. He did not commit suicide.
I'm looking this up too.
I can send it to you. CobainCase.com is what I'm going off of. I
am there.
Okay. The documentary and the book is written by the guy that was a private investigator for Courtney Love. This man has actual recordings of him talking to Courtney Love. He has very cryptic questions, very cryptic meanings, very cryptic just conversations with this woman that would indicate that she was pretty much wanting Kurt Cobain to die. Kurt Cobain, let's just go through. This is a case outline. You ready? Kurt Cobain left a drug rehab center in Marina del Rey, California on April 1st, 1994. I was 10. Well, 9, going on 10. It was later reported missing. As you probably know, he was found dead just 7 days later. His name is Tom Grant, the guy that's talking. And he's a former detective with the Los Angeles County Sheriff Department and private investigator. On April 3rd, while conducting business in California, state licensed private investigator was hired by Courtney Love, who was in Los Angeles at the time, to locate her husband after he had left a drug rehab center in Marina del Rey, California. Miss Love stayed in Los Angeles while I flew to Seattle to search for Cobain with the best friend Dylan Carlson. In fact, Carlson and I had been in the Cobain residence the night before Kurt's body was discovered in the room above his garage. The police immediately concluded suicide. I wasn't so sure. Did you say something? I'm sorry.
Nope.
Okay. I wasn't so sure. Neither was Rosemary Carroll, Courtney Love's own entertainment attorney. Miss Carroll was also a close friend to both Courtney and Kurt. We both knew something was terribly wrong here. After several months, months, the intensive investigation, including dozens of taped interviews with Cobain's closest friends and family members, I reached the conclusion that Courtney Love and Michael DeWitt, the male nanny who lived at Cobain's residence, were involved in a conspiracy that resulted in the murder of Kurt Cobain. So, the events surrounding the death of Kurt Cobain are filled with lies, contradictions in logic, and countless inconsistencies. So, if you go to page 2 of CobainCase.com, is you were never told these things. Courtney Love was facing a divorce. Kurt was in the process of leaving Seattle and his wife Courtney when he was found dead. Courtney knew Kurt wanted out of the marriage just weeks prior to the death. She asked one of her attorneys to get the meanest, most vicious divorce I can't even say it now. Divorce lawyers she could find. Someone was using Kurt's credit card. One of Kurt's credit card was missing when his body was discovered. Someone was attempting to use the missing credit card after Cobain died, but the attempt stopped when his body was discovered. Cobain was in fear for his life. The shotgun found in the scene was purchased before Cobain left for rehab in Los Angeles, not after. He fled the rehab, as reported by misinformed media sources. The shotgun was fully loaded with 3 shells. It was purchased and loaded for protection, not suicide. The police claimed that there was no legible fingerprints on the shotgun. The truth is, the shotgun wasn't even checked for fingerprints until May 6th, nearly 1 month after Cobain's body was found. There was no suicide note, and this one's really interesting to talk about. The note found at the scene of by the police was immediately labeled a suicide note. The police reported states that apparently written by Cobain to his wife and daughter explaining why he had killed himself. But the note was not addressed to Kurt's wife and daughter. It says nothing about killing himself. The note was clearly written to Cobain's fans telling them why he was quitting the music business. There was only a short footnote to Courtney and Francis, and the handwriting contained in those lines have been questioned by several handwriting experts. Courtney had another note she kept secret, and this will kind of go into detail, but she kept telling people she had a note, and she never would reveal it to anybody. She had a separate note after she said there was only one note. Cobain was injected with 3 times a lethal dose of heroin, actually not heroin, but
Morphine,
which, I mean, you can say tomato, but they're different. The obvious questions remain. If Cobain injected 3 times a legal dose, could he then pick up a shotgun and shoot himself? Would he be immediately incapacitated? Based on morphine, which it puts in here. Blood levels found in Cobain's body. Preliminary research indicates Kurt Cobain would have been almost immediately incapacitated. He could not have picked up the shotgun. He could not have pulled the trigger. Which is pretty neat. If you watch this film, well, let's start with this. What do you know about this whole conspiracy?
Basically, just the basics. He shot himself. He was left-handed. Shot himself with a shotgun. It was very awkward the way they found him and the entry and how he would hold the shotgun. It didn't make sense that a left-hander would have done that.
The gun was said to be held backwards and then shot. If that was the case, the shell would have expelled to his left, and it expelled somehow to his right, which means he held it completely different to the way the shotgun wound was said to have happened. That's number 1. Yes.
Yep.
Continue.
I knew, like, I heard about him possibly leaving Courtney and it being a conspiracy because he was leaving her. I did not know about the male nanny living there.
Who were all on drugs.
Yeah. Was he found in a where was he found? Was it a bus?
Above his garage in, like, kind of you would call it a green room, but it's not really a green room. It's just an open, kind of like a sunroom.
Yeah.
They say in the sunroom that the door was barricaded, which it was not. That they had to break to get in, which they did not. That's what starts the conspiracy, is if you look at the police report and the actual facts, they don't match. At all.
The police report doesn't match with the facts?
No, they don't. It's really interesting. It's called Soaked in Bleach. It's a documentary. It was on Netflix. I don't think it is anymore, but if you can, it'll be on and off there depending. It's worth a watch because the guy goes into detail to the point where the police chief admits at the end of the film, he goes, did I purposely do something wrong? No. Do I think that this is a case that probably needs to be reopened? He was like, yes. I think if the job wasn't done, which it appears after looking at everything that it wasn't, that we need to reinvestigate what happened here. And that's from the police chief that was in charge when he killed himself / was murdered.
Huh.
They supposedly, now these are things from the guy directly. I forgot his name already. Tom Grant. So Tom Grant gets hired by Courtney Love. He goes and meets her. He describes the first 2 times he met her as kind of weird. She didn't seem upset or worried to find him. She did tell him where she thought she would find him, and that was about it. From there, he has conversations on the phone that he begins to record because he was worried he was going to get sued. In one of those recordings, she basically asked him, well, if he killed himself, what would that do for my career? And there are a lot of little things like that where it's like, she is not worried about finding him. The other thing is he was and this is on a recording. He claims they went to the house the night before they found him. In the house, they turned over his bed, everything, looking for something because she had said something about a shotgun. So he went looking for it. He looked under the bed. They turned the bed over. He looked in the closet, nothing. The next day, he goes there and looks for the gun again. There had been nobody there. Then, when he is killed, the report is they found the suicide note under his pillow on the bed that they had turned over. There was no suicide note. And at the point they were there the last time, he would have already been dead. The guy that's helping him look for him never mentions that there is a greenhouse, whatever you want to call it, above the garage. They never go up there.
Huh.
They say that the gun was hidden in the closet in which they had ransacked looking for. They said they left the house looking like somebody had robbed it. But yet there was a suicide note that they missed somehow on the pillow of the bed that they turned over, and that the gun was in the closet at the time, which it was not. It's pretty interesting stuff. There's too many things hanging out there to say that he killed himself. Especially, like someone pointed out, with how much morphine was in his body, he didn't need to shoot himself.
Oh yeah, he would have died.
He'd have died. There was no one around to revive him. He'd have died. So why shooting? And how can you shoot yourself? Pretty creepy. I'm just saying. And the suicide note, for that matter. Yeah. The suicide note, if you've seen it, which you can go on the internet and look at right now, the last 2 sentences / paragraph, whatever you want to call it, looks completely different than the rest of the quote-unquote suicide note. The note, there's no doubting that. The first 2 paragraphs of that note is just apologizing for quitting the business. I can't do it anymore. I don't want to be a big-time rock star. I'm sorry. And I got to leave. And then it's like, I'm so sorry. I love you, Courtney. I love you, Francis. I mean, it changes. Now, could that be him writing a note and then adding to a note? Maybe. But the fact that it changes so severely questions that there was a suicide note. Plus, they don't even take the note. They give it to Courtney.
Does it say to Boda?
To Boda? Something like that.
On the top.
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
Did they have a handwriting expert look at it?
Yes, they've had several.
Did they say that the handwriting towards the end is different?
Yes. Now, some have claimed that it could be because he was on drugs and maybe he was all effed up. But if you look at, and I'm clicking on it right now too, the first part of the note is almost completely different from that bottom part. That those last two sentences. Look at the difference in the handwriting and everything.
The thank you all.
Yeah. And then right below that, it goes into the part that they call the suicide note.
From where it goes, thank you all from the pit of my burning nauseous stomach.
Yes.
Yeah, because you see that the handwriting up until that point is pretty tight.
Yeah.
It's not double spaced, and then there's a space.
Well, then right under that it goes peace, love, empathy, Kurt Cobain, and then right underneath that, then Francis and Courtney, I'll be at your altar. Please keep going, Courtney, for Francis, for her life, which will be so much happier without me. I love you. I love you. That part is not even.
Yeah, what the crap? It looks like a woman's handwriting. It does. Like it just does.
But
well, yeah, like look up in the main body of the text. Yeah. It looks like I can see the differences. Like he capitalizes some of the beginnings of words that shouldn't be capitalized.
Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't match up. There's too many things about this. That's why I keep it at an 8. Do I think there's a chance that Kurt Cobain was suicidal? Yeah. I do. But do I think that be all end all that he absolutely had to have killed himself and there was nothing else involved in this? No.
Yeah. It's possible for someone to be suicidal, like that wants to die but won't do it.
Yeah. And the fact that a lot of his suicidal tendencies was during the time his stomach was all messed up. His last interviews before that, like months before, he had figured his stomach issues out. He had like Crohn's disease, basically. He had got on the right medication. He was feeling better. So even the reasons for him wanting to kill himself weren't there anymore. Well, the main reason, as claimed by a lot of people. Not just Courtney. A lot of people were like, well, his only problems were his stomach. He was a relatively happy person. He had a persona to upkeep, and his music was dark and could be dreary. But at the end of the day, he was not. He was obsessed with fame. Not that he wanted to be famous, but that he wanted to be remembered.
Yeah.
That he wanted the fame, but he didn't like where they were going, but it had a lot to do with not being in control of his own music. Which is easily solved. Quit. Well, not easily solved, but you quit. So anyways, I like it. If you get a chance, check out it. Soaked in Bleach. It was on Netflix. I don't know if it still is. Let me Google that real quick.
Oh my God, you can get a shirt of that suicide note.
Can you?
Oh
it God. Is actually, let me see here. I'm looking at it. Click on it. Click on you. I can give it a thumbs up. I can do that. Hold on. This is a great ending right here.
What, us searching for things?
It is currently not. No, it's on. You can get it on DVD right now. It will pop in and out. There is another one that's actually on there right now. It's from 1998. It's not as good, but it's worth watching. It's called Kurt and Courtney. Kurt with a K. So if you get a chance, check it out. I think it's a really good conspiracy theory because it's one of those that there's a lot of. I see the shirt, by the way. Jesus.
Yeah.
No, I love Nirvana, but no, that's messed up. If you get a chance, check it out because it's one of those that there's enough. So we talked about those other conspiracies. There's enough there that you can say, I don't think so. The JFK thing being, well, there's enough stuff that could be hidden. Even the Area 51 stuff. Did they find stuff? Probably. Was there an alien autopsy? Probably not. You saw the video. So it probably didn't happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So with this one, there's enough information to say, there's probably some chum in the water, and there was enough money to make stuff go away. Because if you have a suicidal guy that dies, how much you looking into it?
Probably not much. You're just like, oh, a guy that wanted to kill himself killed himself. Case closed.
Case closed. Everybody gone. So
Everybody
get a chance.
That's it. Smoke him if you got him. Let's all go.
It is on Netflix, DVD, sometimes on streaming. You can also get it on Amazon.com. So check it out. Soaked in Bleach. It's Tom Grant. So, Mr. Boggs, since I missed it at the beginning, would you like to plug yourself?
That's very nice after we talked about Kurt Cobain.
Anyways, people killed himself. Would you like to plug yourself?
Yeah, so I am Boggs of Boggs Games. You can find me Facebook at Boggs Games, Twitter, Boggs Games, Instagram, Boggs_games. I'm in the band Brave the Sea.
Yes, which you heard at the beginning.
Yep, one of my songs at the beginning. I am in the paranormal investigating groups, Columbus RIP and Outlaw Paranormal Posse. Yes, we're on Facebook. Yep, look us up.
Absolutely. And again, you can catch me at Monty the Yank. We want to do ghost stories. So if you are listening to this, don't be afraid. Nothing too stupid, nothing too crazy, nothing too made up. I'll read it for the most part.
I forgot to tell you, one of my bandmates, the accordion player, I used to live with him in a big old haunted house.
Oh, nice.
And he mentioned possibly being a guest on the show. And
ask him if he can do it. Absolutely.
Yep. I'll just have to think of how we can do it with my setup, because I have the audio coming out the headphones.
Worst case scenario, if he can just do the Discord thing, he can connect in.
I can ask him. I can see if he has a headset and mic.
Absolutely.
And stuff.
Cool deal. Okay, so until next time, I am Monty the Yank, and with me, as always, is Boggs, and we'll talk to you all again next time.
Wieners.